Good afternoon. This is Tanya Nichols with Meet the Need, and I want to welcome you to the monthly user webinar. We're in the month of December, and our topic today is best practices for effective outreach. Before we get started, I want to open us up in prayer, and I want to make sure that we've got everyone that's joined, that you are able to hear me and see my screen. So let me open up my notes so I can see if you're chatting. If you could put a chat in there, and I'll open us in prayer, and I'll make sure that everyone can hear what I'm saying. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you so much for another day that you have kept us here on this earth, Lord, to show the love of your Son, Jesus. And Lord, I pray for the leaders on this webinar and their nonprofits and churches and ministries, Lord, that you have endowed to them, that I continue to pray for provision financially, spiritually, and physically, Lord, in every way. Lord, be with us today, and let my words and the questions that are asked, Lord, be of your glory. And Lord, let us learn new ways to mobilize your people, Lord, to serve the needs of others right here on this earth. It's in your Son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. All right. I got confirmation that you can hear and see my screen, which is great. So we are going to dive into the webinar for today. A few tips before we get started. If you want to type a message to me, there is a message box, and you can mark your message as a question, or you can chat, and all chats and questions are visible by all attendees. Note that I will be sending a recording of this webinar as well as the PowerPoint presentation that I'm using to all those that registered later this week. So you'll be sure to have that so you can share it with others in your organization if you like, or review the information yourself. All right. If you haven't registered your organization with Meet the Need yet, most users coming to the webinar have, and that's how you heard about us, and you're here to learn more about Meet the Need. But if for some reason you haven't registered with Meet the Need, you can go to meettheneed.org, click Quick Start, walk through a quick 4 or 5 step process. It takes less than 10 minutes, and it includes a video in there. And then you will gain access to your Meet the Need dashboard with all the modules that we offer through Meet the Needs. So if you haven't done that, be sure to do that right after the webinar, and we'll be in contact with you with your next steps on how to use Meet the Need. Today, I am going to share with you some of our free holiday resources that I've shared on some of our past webinars, but just reviewing that with you. We were supposed to have a case study with Fellowship Bible Church in Little Rock, Arkansas, but she's not going to be live with us because we had some technical difficulty right before the webinar. But what I will do is I will record her portion of the webinar and insert that into this webinar recording when I send it to you, so you'll have that live case study. So I highly encourage you, when I send you the recorded webinar, to listen to that, because you'll have really the most important piece of the webinar, which is the live testimony of how a large church is using Meet the Need. In the case study with Fellowship Bible, we'll be talking about how they track their members, their service activity, how they utilize Meet the Need for the volunteer and events modules, and how they're sharing with community partners to connect their members to needs in the community. What I'm going to dive into right now is the best practices related to posting needs, website seamless integration, sharing with your partners and in your city, getting your needs met as an organization, and mobilizing your members or volunteers to serve. And then, of course, we'll have a brief session for question and answer. But go ahead and mark your calendars. Our next webinar is January 12th at 1 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be about maintaining an external focus. It's really going to focus on going from the holidays and events kind of driven outreach to a year-round serving outreach, and really mobilizing volunteers to serve all year round, not just during the high points of the holidays, and how Meet the Need can help you with that. All right, let's dive into the free holiday resources. We do have two free ebooks, one for churches and one for nonprofits, and the links are here on this slide. And it's 5 ways to make holiday outreach more efficient and effective. I realize we're towards the end of the holiday season, but in case you were at the last minute getting some stuff together for Christmas, I wanted to make sure that you had these ebooks. I also talk about them on the webinar recording from September 2015, and there's a link there as well. But it covers recruiting, registering, reminding, revising, and recording all that your volunteers are doing. There's also 2 free ebooks. One is the 5 pitfalls of shared case management as you're serving families, and collaborative family scheduling. And we covered these ebooks in depth in the webinar recording from October 2015, so you can access that webinar as well. Great resources. I highly recommend that you take advantage of those. All right, I'd like to welcome our guest speaker, Pam Ferguson from Fellowship Bible Church in Little Rock, Arkansas. A little bit about Pam is that she's been on the mission staff at Fellowship Bible since 2010, so for quite a number of years, and she served in several different roles and currently serves in several different roles. She is the local missions project coordinator, which I know a lot of you here in the webinar can relate to, but she's also the program director for a transition home for residents transitioning from the prison world into the outside world, which is a very big job, and she's currently the director of Tyler Street Opportunity Center, which is a center in the heart of their city there in Little Rock, servicing those in poverty with free medical, after-school tutoring, English as a second language, and a lot of different services. So Pam is a very busy lady. She's been a Christ follower since the age of 10. She's a mother of 2, a grandmother of 5. She's a successful entrepreneur, musician, visionary, missionary, and in her spare time, which I don't know how she has any, she is a fishing and 4-wheeling enthusiast. So Pam, I want to welcome you to the webinar and just want to take a deep breath because you seem like a very busy lady.
Well, busy is a word that I have learned to define quite well.
But what's great is that all your busyness is centered around God and the calling that He has on your life and the talents that He's given you. And so I love that everything you have is focused on Him and keeping that focus clear.
Well, I tell you, that is the joy when you can actually receive income for doing what the Lord has put in your heart to do. It is a blessing beyond measure.
Absolutely, absolutely, and a blessing that that I know that you're immensely grateful for.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Pam, I asked you to be the guest speaker today because you are very involved in a large church out in Little Rock, Arkansas that has begun to use Meet the Need pretty actively. And you've really not only gotten Meet the Need going there within your church, but also within the whole city with, through your partners. But before we dive into how you did all that, tell us a little bit about Fellowship Bible Church and how you're structured and just so that there's some background on where you're coming from.
Okay. Well, Fellowship Bible Church is in West Little Rock, located in West Little Rock, but we're actually a multi-campus facility. We have a facility in 2 other close towns to us in Benton and also in Conway. We have around 5,000 members throughout the 3 campuses. And the mission of our church is to make disciples who live by God's grace and for His glory, both at home and across the world. And that's one of the reasons we were very interested in Meet the Need.
Yeah, your mission statement definitely aligns with, Meet the Need's vision, which is about mobilizing Christians to serve, across the street and around the world.
Right, exactly.
And that's why I invited you to be a part of today's webinar.
Well, I'm very glad to be here.
I am too. Tell us about how you learned about Meet the Need and what you were doing to mobilize your members to serve before you found us.
I'll start with how we mobilize members to serve, which was generally the way I think most churches continue to do it today. You put a need in your bulletin or an announcement in your bulletin. Possibly the pastor mentions it in an upfront announcement. You have someone in your staff that is feverishly working on an Excel spreadsheet that
That's constantly changing.
constantly, that is recording people who call in, and then that office person is also making phone calls, verifying information back and forth between the people who are wanting to serve for the event. Like you said, if anything changes, then you have more man hours and manpower to have to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty standard practice across the board, I think, for a lot of churches in prior to using Meet the Need. The number of hours that it takes to administer that type of a program it's heavy on the man hours, and it tends to wear people down too.
Well, and there's a lot of lost connections that happen too that never get made.
A lot of things are dropped through the cracks. That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly right. Exactly right. And then about 2 years ago, I believe it was, we were first introduced to Meet the Need when Jim Morgan, your founder, actually came to Little Rock and presented this system to us that we had never heard of. Immediately, light bulbs started going off in several people's minds about how this might be implemented and used across the board in our churches, in our mission partners, and in the city. However, at that time, we just didn't get all the pieces put together in order to make it effective.
Mm-hmm.
So it has taken us a couple of years before we've actually figured it out, and mainly because you have to have support from your staff, you have to have support from your outside ministries that you partner with as well to make this work. And we were kind of hitting one or the other, but never both at the same time. I think we finally got that figured out now.
Yeah, and a lot of especially because you were looking not only to implement at your church, but also citywide. So there was a whole another level of deepness there.
That's correct.
And when you do that, I mean, it is important to have all parties on board and involved. And a lot of times, it's not the right time to implement Meet the Need across the city. Or even within an organization. And we understand that. A lot of people hear about us and buy into the vision and are like, yes, this is what we definitely need, but then they can't get their leadership involved in it. And honestly, if you can't get your leadership on board, or it's not the right time for them, then, that's okay. Kind of put Meet the Need on the back burner, and then, we're still around. We're not going anywhere. And, we'll help you get implemented in the right time. And that's just the case at Fellowship Bible. And I'm glad that, we finally, it was the right timing. Everybody lined up, and we were here to help make that transition easy for you.
Absolutely, we're very grateful for that too.
All right. In what ways are you using Meet the Need there at Fellowship Bible to make your job easier?
Well, we're involved in a number of ministries external to our church, and Meet the Need allows us to know what is going on inside those ministries, what their specific needs are, and then to be able to communicate those to our body at large. We've been able to focus just in the last few months on the Christmas giving season, and Fellowship has made a commitment to supply Christmas gifts for every child that is waiting for a forever home in the state of Arkansas inside the foster care program. And our body has met that challenge, and we've done this through using Meet the Need. This has allowed our members to get familiar with going online and seeing what needs are available and then meeting those needs. It's allowed our staff even a way, because we have a very large staff of somewhere around 100 and probably 130 people on staff. And so it's a great way for us to introduce Meet the Need to our staff across the board as well. What we have found is our members are generally loving the ease and the ability of clicking on a button that says ready to serve, and then they're there, and they have all the options available to them. Absolutely.
Yeah, having a kind of an event per se, I mean, you're not using necessarily the event module, but having an initiative to rally behind, to really kind of roll it out into your church, is a great way. They don't even realize that it's really, meet the need per se, but what they're seeing is that, hey, my church is kind of technology driven now, and I can go online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and look at needs. Because honestly, the typical family, I mean, they hear about things on Sunday and it sounds great. By the time they go out to lunch and they get home and they get busy with getting ready for the week, they've forgotten what they heard during Sunday services. But Tuesday night, they may remember, wait a minute, oh yeah, we need to go on as a family and adopt, a child, a forever, that's looking for a forever family, and then they could go online and not have to wait for someone to get back to them to connect with a specific need, which is an awesome way to do it.
It is. Our main event is tomorrow night. And just to give you an example, the promotions department in our church sent an email reminder out to our body last night or first thing this morning that said, we know a lot of you are planning on showing up for the wrapping party to wrap the gifts. Mm-hmm. In order for us to be more effective in assigning you positions, please go online and click. And just from that reminder, within a matter of an hour, 70 people had gone on and met the need, so that we knew that they were coming.
And that's awesome, because that's going to save a lot of administrative time when they show up and you're trying to get them where they need to go.
It saves a ton of time. It really does.
Absolutely. How else are you using Meet the Need, Pam? That's a great success example that you gave.
Well, we're using it to determine, one of the vital signs of a healthy church is if the people are actually serving. And so the reporting ability with Meet the Need gives us an opportunity to see how many in our body are really serving. Are we healthy in that area? Mm-hmm. And it's just a better way than we've ever had in the past of being able to determine that.
Yeah, and it's a great way to see what the passions and skills are of your people. So maybe you want to create some more partnerships or different partnerships in the community, or create new ministries even within the church to help fulfill the passion and desires that your members have to want to serve others.
Right. Well, we've had, for instance, back to school initiatives where we are trying to promote just going into impoverished areas and helping in the schools that we are partnered with to allow the children to have every opportunity for their supplies, their uniforms, health care needs, etc. And so Meet the Need has a great method of being able to just lay that all out, before the body, and mm-hmm. then allow them to go in wherever the Lord's calling them to act, mm-hmm. and meet those needs.
Absolutely. And the thing too to remember is, you're talking a lot about the administrative connections, and especially when you were talking about doing it through spreadsheets and, post-it notes and emails and continuing, the heavy labor that there is in just making connections happen. We're here at Meet the Need to help reduce that administrative workload, hopefully to eliminate a lot of it, and to where that administrator's time or that ministry leader's time could be spent connecting with the volunteers, and maybe it's training that they need. Maybe, it's discipleship, connections with the volunteers and connections with those that are being served, and connections with community partners. It frees up time so that those connections can be made. We're not here to replace relationship by any means. That's not our focus at all, but we're here to replace the administrative behind the scenes stuff.
Right. I'm kind of excited because one of the internal ways that we are about to launch into using Meet the Need is through a disaster relief team. Mm-hmm. We are sitting in the tornado alley of the U.S., and we have quite a few tornadoes and other disasters that occur. This will allow us to keep track of people who are trained in our body to be, first responders for disaster relief, mm-hmm. and then to be able to help in that administrative end of assigning them to positions in disasters when they do occur. So there's some exciting things coming down the pipe for us as we launch into using this in every facet.
Absolutely. Yeah, the teams function and Meet the Need is great for that, because you can create teams of those that have been trained or teams of those that have, been background checked, or teams of those, that have experience in different areas, and really direct needs to only those specific teams, if you so choose. And disasters are a great way to do that.
Right.
All right. What I wanted to do, Pam, is kind of show everyone what Fellowship Bible's Meet the Need dashboard looks like and what your website looks like. This is your dashboard, which can be kind of overwhelming for the new Meet the Need user. You guys show all 4 modules. You're showing your volunteer goods management module, shared case management, events, and missions. I think primarily, though, you use the volunteer and the events modules.
That's correct.
Yeah. But what I wanted to show was when I click on your drop-down menu, you have quite a few organizations listed here. And some of these are teams, I believe, that you've created, internal ministry teams and posting needs for, but most of these are your external community partners that are posting needs that you also have access to. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you are correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's kind of a combination, which is a sign of a healthy outreach church, because you're doing a little bit of your own outreach that's generated from within the church, but you're also connecting with community organizations that are already out there, so you're not duplicating what's already being offered in the community.
Right.
And this is Fellowship Bible's website. If you go to their site, they have a button for missions, which is at the very top of the page on their website. You don't have to scroll down and through a bunch of different pages to find it. It's very easy. But if you click missions and go local, which I kind of like that, go local, it's kind of like buy local, what you have is a great landing page that you guys have created. And y'all decided to create this page based on the different people groups or needs within your community. And you guys know what those needs are because you have those partnerships that you've been building over the years. And so it was pretty easy for you guys to come up with what those topics were. But for instance, if I go to K-12 schools, you've got a button for more information and a button to sign up. When you click on more information, you get a list of, you get a button for view all K through 12 school opportunities, which shows all the opportunities through the partnerships that you have. But your members can also go down if they know they want to serve with Our Kids Read or Passport to Success or Epic or Step Encouragers. They can click the serve button on any one of those partners and see the needs that those partners have posted. Now, Pam, I don't know. Well, I can pretty much guarantee. I know that you love this feature because you're not having to post all of these needs.
You are absolutely right.
They're out there posting the needs. Once you set up your pages and we give you the links for that, it kind of runs itself. I know that your role in all of this is to keep the balance between needs being posted by these organizations and your members actually adopting the needs, because there's no need to post needs if they're not getting adopted, and there's no need for volunteers to be going to look for needs if they're not being posted. So how has that been with keeping the balance of that? I know you're kind of at the front end of this, but how's that been getting started?
Well, the biggest key is communication. We have to be able to constantly communicate to the body, and remind them, to go to the website, go local, or go global, whichever, and look for ways in which to connect with the community and serve.
Yeah, and what's great is that you've picked keywords that are really quick. Go local, go global. So that's going to stick with them, and they're going to see that over and over again in bulletin announcements and emails, and they're going to know when they go to your website, oh, go local, yeah, I need to go there. And you've picked catchphrases that work into your culture and that are very catchy.
That's correct.
All right. What were some challenges with mobilizing your members to serve, or what are, maybe they still are, and getting them to go online to search and adopt needs?
Well, I think, the getting the buy-in, the very first obstacle we had to overcome was getting our leadership team in sync with it, so that from the pulpit, if someone were to hear an announcement, it carries some weight. In a large church like ours, it's kind of like you said, people might forget from one service till 2 or 3 days later. However, if they're getting it from the leadership up front and they're reading about it in their bulletin And maybe they're getting, one of the things we do is we include links in the emails that we send out, so that those links are linked directly to, for instance, the wrapping party for the foster care kids. And just send them a quick link in the email blast that says, hey, in case you've forgotten about this, please make sure and click here and let us know you're coming and what you would like to do. So those are the type things that we've discovered we had to do in order to make it successful. We also had to make sure that, as you were showing, the navigation system through our website needed to be simple and forthcoming for people, so that they didn't have to get buried in the website before they actually found how to serve. We wanted that up front and where people could find it immediately.
Yeah, and y'all did a great job at following all of our best practices with setting up your web landing pages.
I think the last thing that was an obstacle, and we finally discovered how to overcome it, was making sure we got all of our external partners on board. And in order to overcome that, we basically said, this is the tool that we will be using in order to get needs out to our body. As our partners, we would love to make sure that your needs are presented to our body. In order to do it, we need you to present on Meet the Need so that we can pick it up easy, access it easy, and you have control of those needs. And people jumped to it. That was encouraging for us.
Well, and a church of your size is able to make a request like that because you are providing, a large number of volunteers, and you're providing probably financial support to those organizations as well. And so, asking them to, follow on the same platform is not a big request. And what's great, because you're not just saying, hey, go post these needs just for Fellowship Bible. As more churches come on board in your area, those ministries will benefit from those other churches coming on board as well, without having to do any extra work, and meet the needs at no cost for them. So it's not like you're asking them to go sign up for something that they're going to have to pay for as well, So really, it's a win-win for the churches and the ministries, to get on board together and citywide.
It's definitely been a win for us as well as the other ministries, and we're looking forward to how we can even incorporate this more citywide. Coming up in the spring, we'll have a big city service opportunity where multiple churches will be involved, and we're hoping this will give us an opportunity to present it to these other churches and get people logged in, signed up, and then maybe we'll even have more participation from the church at large here in Little Rock. Great.
I look forward to that. What are some next steps for Fellowship Bible Church? I know you mentioned the disaster relief coming up. Any other areas that you see that, and like you just said, rolling it out citywide a little bit more with other churches. Anything else that you see coming?
Well, we've not even begun to explore the missions event. Or the missions module, and I would really like for us to look into that as far as our mission trips go, because we probably have 400 people plus a year that we send on external mission trips to other countries and other places. And then also, I would really like to talk to some of our people who are in the area of keeping a track on individuals in needs, because there are so many people in Little Rock, and there are a certain number of food pantries and a certain number of places to go for financial help, and your module on the family needs, I think, could really benefit not only us as a church body, but the city as a whole, as we're trying to track and do the best that we can for these families.
Absolutely. And really that shared case management module may be a good module for you to use for that disaster relief, efforts that you're looking at using for, where you can track what families are being helped. So they're not helped, duplicated, helped a number of times by different organizations in the same way.
That's a very good point, yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Pam, I want to thank you so much for joining us. You've given us a great insight and talked so eloquently about how your church has really embraced this technology, through Meet the Need. And I think it's a very big encouragement for other churches and even other ministries and nonprofits to really get things moving in their city. And so thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I look forward to many more webinars with you guys.
Thank you. And if anyone has any questions for Pam, her email is on the slides, so you can email her directly or you can email me, and I'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Thanks again, Pam.
Thank you, Tanya.
Now, the best practices for posting needs through Meet the Need. We actually have a document. If you go to your Meet the Need dashboard, if you look at the bottom of this screen and go to the Help menu, there's a document called Local Outreach Tips, and it tells you each point of the form for posting a need, what are some best practices. And here are some things to keep in mind. You want to choose the best category or subcategory for the need that you're posting. You may not find the exact category or subcategory that you're looking for, but you find the one that's the closest, because this is how volunteers may be searching through your search page to find a skill or a passion, or some type of an art that they're able to give to your organization. You want to keep your description simple and to the point, but very informative. You don't want to recap what your organization does in the need description, because what your organization does is included in the organization bio, which is also included beside the need when it's posted. So you don't need to restate that information. You can use hyperlinks and HTML coding to draw attention to important details in your need description. A lot of our users don't realize this, but if you start to type in HTTP : www and then a URL, it will automatically change that URL string of text to a hyperlink that says click here in your description. You can also use HTML coding like bold and underline to draw attention to certain words in your need description. You want to make the quantity of a need realistic and achievable. You don't want to say we need 100,000 reams of paper, or a huge number that seems unachievable, like if I gave 1 or 2 or 5 or 10, it wouldn't really make a difference. But maybe post them in, we need 100 of these or 1,000 of these, and maybe repost after a certain number of days or weeks. And when that gets filled, and 2, that will also send out an email to remind people that you still have a need that needs to be filled. You also want to post the need as public for the greatest visibility. That would be the visibility on your organization's website, as well as visibility on local churches and organizations that are showing community needs. Best practices for your website. This is important because this is how everyone is searching for needs through your organization, is on your website. And these are some best practices that we have. The first is you do want to access serving from your home page. So if there's a way to put serve or volunteer or get involved, whatever you want to call it, but something from your home page where they don't have to scroll down to find it. You don't want to reference nor mention Meet the Need, because we're here to make it seamless with your website and your organization, and it to where it kind of ties in with your culture and your initiatives. So you can say, such and such church or such organization, we have this platform, and here's how you can connect to it. You don't necessarily have to mention Meet the Need to your end users, because it's all about, bringing glory to God and getting them involved in your church or your nonprofit. Not necessarily Meet the Need's not looking to have individuals know who we are. We're here for the leadership. You do want to talk about your organization's serving initiative and build up emotion for volunteers to want to serve through your organization. You don't want to ask individuals to register up front, and here's why. When they find a need and they click that they're interested in that need and want to know more about it, in the commitment process is when they will register. If you ask them to register up front and they don't really have a need that they're looking to commit to, then you're kind of asking them to blindly register just to receive emails when needs are posted, which is not best practice. Most people aren't going to do that. I mean, if you think about yourself, if you visit Amazon.com and Amazon said register with us, you're probably not going to register unless you're actually buying something. You're not going to register just for Amazon to send you spam and junk mail to, when products come up that you're interested in. Instead, you're going to wait and register when you're actually in the process of buying a product. And we recommend that same practice, where your volunteers register in the process of committing to a specific need. Churches, you do want to have clear buttons that highlight a variety of needs, like needs in our community, needs in our church, needs of families, needs of missionaries or missionary organizations. And ministries, you do want to have buttons that highlight your needs. And you might have needs like your volunteer needs, your goods needs, or maybe just one button altogether. But these are definitely practices that Fellowship Bible has put into place and that Pam shared with us. And so you will be able to see that live, their website live, and how these best practices all come into play. Here's some website examples. Here's a few ministry or nonprofit examples. This is Habitat for Humanity, and they have a volunteer click here button. Metropolitan Ministries has 3 different counties that they serve, and they have a button for each different county and the needs that they have in those counties. Feed 3 has a button for Meet a Need, which is for goods, and then a volunteer button for volunteering. So you can see that there's different ways that nonprofits can show needs through their website. You simply create the buttons, and we send you the hyperlinks, or you create the hyperlinks through your dashboard to show the needs that you want to show. Here's some website examples of churches. The Park Church has a great serve button at the top of their header, and you can serve locally, nationally, internationally, or at the church. Gateway has, they're actually in the process of redoing this page, so you can't get to it right now, but they have different people groups separated out: the elderly, every neighbor, ladies in needs, orphans, prisoners. And when you click on those, you get direct links to each of their partners that have joined Meet the Need and are posting needs for your members to be able to connect directly with specific partners that you have in the community. There's also a church there in the third example where they have a list of their ministry partners, and you can click any one of those ministry partners and be able to see the needs as posted by those ministry partners or teams within the church. Sharing with partners. Okay, so we've talked about posting needs, we've talked about what they look like on your website. Now let's talk about how do you share with your community partners, because as a church especially, you want to take the workload off of your staff and give Meet the Need to them to be able to post their own needs, and then you just simply kind of tie into that to be able to show your members the needs that have been posted by those community partners, those homeless shelters, food banks, women's pregnancy centers, things of that sort. We do have a whole share toolbox. If you go to your dashboard, there's a share button, and we have, let's see, there's 7 different resources that we have there. One is a flyer, a one-page flyer where you can share Meet the Need with your partners. There's a sample email that you can change and send to them. There's a full PowerPoint presentation, a full brochure, as well as some nonprofit testimonials that are using Meet the Need. The most frequently asked questions. This is a great document for you to review as you're sharing Meet the Need with your partners for questions that they might have and how to answer them. And then, of course, their next steps, which are to go and register, and then we'll take it from there. They have all the videos they need to get started, and they have technical support through our support system. And, really, any way that you want to share with your partners, we've given you a resource to be able to do that. But we're also available if you're a church and you want to share with your partners, and maybe you have, let's say, 10 partners in the community that you work with. Maybe you would like us to do a live webinar with them and to share what Meet the Need is all about, give them a chance to ask questions, and get them ready for their next steps. We are most definitely willing to do that. You could even fly us out if you want to and have Jim Morgan present live in your city if you're looking, maybe a city reaching organization that's looking to get a lot of organizations on board, and maybe you have a conference coming up and you want to invite us out to be a part of that and get organizations on board with Meet the Need. We are definitely open to doing that as well. Just contact your member service representative and we'll get that set up for you. Reaching your city. If you're a city reaching organization, we actually have a special page dedicated in Meet the Need for you. It's meettheneed.org/partner. And on that, all the resources that I just shared, what I just shared was for nonprofits. You also have the same resources for churches. So you have the resources for churches and for nonprofits right there, as well as the viral rollout process for a city, which is, to start with the larger churches in your area, have them influence the nonprofits that they work with to use Meet the Need. And then those nonprofits are going to want more churches to show their needs on their website. So then those nonprofits go and share with more churches. And before you know it, a city is rolled out, as we say with Meet the Need. Best practices for getting your needs met. As an organization, a ministry, or a nonprofit, you want to make sure that the needs that you're posting are getting met, or else, why are you posting them? The best way to do that is to make sure that all your church partners are showing your needs on their website. A lot of ministries and nonprofits don't realize this, but churches do have the ability to hide certain organizations from showing on their website through Meet the Need. They have the option to hide or make visible. So if they've gone in and made everything not visible except a few select organizations, then your organization's needs may not be showing. So you want to make sure that if you're a ministry, maybe you have 5 churches that you work with, go check their websites and make sure that your needs are showing on their site. And if they're not, give them a call and say, hey, I noticed my stuff's not showing. My needs aren't showing. Can you make sure that my organization's visible through your Meet the Need dashboard? And they can do that. You want to make sure that Meet the Need is on your homepage and that it's at the top of your homepage, where volunteers can real quickly click volunteer or serve or see opportunities, because that's important for them to be able to find needs. You also want to make sure that all your volunteers are approved members through your Meet the Need dashboard. Approved members are the ones that receive all the new needs posted emails each time your organization posts needs. As members or as volunteers adopt needs, they come in as pending members. So you want to move them from pending to approved to make sure they're getting those push notifications that new needs have been posted. And you want to ask yourself, are you driving people to your website in all your communications that you're doing, and your newsletters and emails and trainings? Are you letting all of your existing volunteers know that needs are on your website and that they can connect to those needs, specific ones, specific days and times right through your website? And how often are you posting needs? I mean, obviously you don't want to post needs every day, because then emails would go out the next day, every day, saying that needs have been posted. But you do want to make sure you're posting, every few weeks, to remind people that there are needs still out there and that new needs are out there for them to take advantage of. All of this information is available in a document under your help button on your dashboard under local outreach tips. So take a look at all of these best practices for getting your needs met. All right, shifting gears a little bit to churches, best practices for mobilizing your members to serve. Obviously, the more advocacy you have from the senior pastor, the better. If he can make an announcement from the pulpit, including it in your discipleship process. Maybe you have a new members class or a discipleship class, letting your members know that serving through your website or finding opportunities to serve through your website are available there. You definitely want to make sure you include it in that process. Organizing a recurring kind of serve day as a kickoff, because you're going to have new members coming to your church all the time, and they're not going to know that there are needs out there or what there is to do in the community. But if you give them a taste of kind of a serve day of maybe a variety of different kinds of needs that they can do, and let them know that they can do this all year round, not just for the, waiting for the next serve day, but they can do this at any time with their family, with their small group, through your website. Sharing testimonies. You can get testimonies through Meet the Need of volunteers that have served, and if they completed their commitment and put in a testimony, if you go to your pending gifts report completed gifts report and export that out, all the testimonies are included there. So use those testimonies to put in videos or slides or bulletin announcements to encourage your members to serve. Mobilizing your small groups is a great way to get a large group of people serving and using, your website to find needs. Maybe do a time when it's, hey, we encourage all of our small groups to serve, and by this date, we want you all to have done, so many hours of service, and kind of have a rally around the small groups. You can hold an internal needs campaign where if you're a church where a lot of your members have needs just within the church, you can have them maybe go to the back of the church, fill out a card of the needs that they have, and then enter those cards into the Meet the Needs system, into the shared case management system, show those needs, they're anonymous, but show those needs on your website, and then encourage your members who maybe didn't have needs to go and adopt those needs and to meet the needs even within your church. You can host a missions fair out in the lobby, which, this happens a lot in churches where different ministries come in to share about how your members can get involved. And you can have those partners register with Meet the Need ahead of time and post needs and have everything ready to go for that missions fair. And then people can go around and on laptops sign up for specific needs or register with the different organizations to get notifications from the ones that they have a heart to want to serve with. You can also use Meet the Need to connect your members socially, like through Facebook and Twitter. If your church is active, any needs that you post, you can grab those URLs or those links and copy and paste those into your social media post and encourage members to serve. Church-wide emails, if you're already sending those out, maybe newsletters every so often, definitely including a link directly to your website to those needs is important. And of course, the bulletin announcements, you want all of those to direct your members to your website to see the ongoing list of real-time needs at any time. Again, all these tips are located in your help button under local outreach tips on your dashboard. All right. Any questions? And then I can see if I can answer anything. We'll come back and do the recording of Pam at Fellowship Bible a little later. And I will be sure to email that in the recording to you. I'm not getting any questions, so either I've done a really good job at covering the topics that we did, or you are overwhelmed at all that I have just said. There's always more. If you want to join with us through our website, we have a weekly blog. Our founder and president, Jim Morgan, has a great blog on culture change. We have a monthly newsletter. We're also active on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, so join us there. And you can access all of our past recorded webinars through the help button from your Meet the Need dashboard. We're also on Pinterest, too. The slide doesn't say that, but we do have a Pinterest account, and we post frequently on outreach and serving things. Our next user webinar is January 12th at 1 p.m. The topic is maintaining an external focus, especially as you head into the new year. And look for an evite in our newsletter and through an invitation through Vertical Response. And mark your calendars for every second Tuesday, because that's when we have these webinars. This is your Meet the Need member service team. Here I am, Tanya Nichols. There's also Maurice Jackson. We are here to support you in answering any questions that you have as a church or a nonprofit or ministry in getting started or even ongoing or taking Meet the Need to the next level at your organization. Thank you for joining the webinar. I appreciate you taking the time, and I hope it was helpful and insightful, and be looking for that recording a little later. Have a great day.